Hey guys, JH, welcome to Practice Tee. In the cow paddock again. I actually like it out here. Oh, excuse me. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay guys, what I want to talk about today is the golf swing. Now I know what you're all going to say, okay JH, you talk about the golf swing every time you come out on the practice tee. Well guys, I really don't talk about the golf swing. The swing component, the actuality of that. I really don't talk about that. And not a lot of instructors, coaches do. You know, the old time guys, the Ernest Jones, those type of guys, the swing the club head. At the end of the day guys, that's a golf swing. And that's a swinging motion. See that? That's a swinging motion. That is unimpeded, pure unadulterated, momentum unobstructed. Momentum unobstructed, or unobstructus. Momentum unobstructus, that's what we'll call it. Momentum unobstructus. Because guys, that's what a golf swing is. And I can tell you right now that all the good players, all the great ball strikers of all time have swung the golf club. They may all look different. You know, you'll see the Jim Furyk's here. You'll see the Lee Trevinos here. You'll see the Miller Barbers here. But I promise you, here, and here is exactly the same. Because it's a swinging process, a swinging motion. Because you can't be a good ball striker and you can't have a consistent golf swing if you don't swing the golf club. Because the swing is the only thing that will create consistency. If I do that, I could do that for 3 weeks and it will always scribe that arc. Because it's not being assaulted in any way by any force extraneous to that motion. As long as I let it have its way, as long as I let the head be unimpeded and let it find its own way, it will always do that. It is that simplistic. It will always do that because it can't do anything else. Because that is swinging momentum. But what happens with the majority of people, and we've all done it, I did it. I mean, there are occasions when I lose my golf swing. And the reason I lose my golf swing is because I've got that in the golf swing instead of that. The truly great swingers of the golf club, you know, the Bobby Joneses, the Sam Sneads, the Count Yogis. They really did swing the club. Even the leverers, the guys that look like they're levering the golf club, and leave and heave as I call it, as a look. I mean, clearly they don't leave and heave, but they look like they do because they're more athletic, and that's the Tiger Woods type guys and the Rory McIlroys, because they're very athletic and they're very strong, and there's a lot of, you know, heave and lever type look about them, whereas the older guys, you know, the Bobby Jones, Sam Snead was very strong, but Bobby Jones was not a very athletic type of guy, but he really did have that swinging process. Okay, so how do we get it? And more to the point, why should we get it? And why should we endeavour to get it? And why should we try to adopt it as a process? Because guys, it's the only way you will ever have a consistent golf swing. Any form of levering, putting, manipulating a golf swing will never ever be consistent. It just can't be. It'll never be consistent. Because the amount of lever and the amount of putting varies. But that doesn't. If you let that go in its own merry way, that will always find that position in space. It just does that, guys. It'll just find its position in space. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, in order to swing the club, you have to have a fairly, for the club player, you have to get rid of a lot of the tension in the golf swing and a lot of the intention to do something with this. You've got to feel like this is the tennis ball on the piece of string, and essentially is that, guys. We're going to swing the tennis ball away on the piece of string. That's what we're going to try and do all the time. And how do we do that? Well, clearly you have to have very little tension here, shoulder, neck, everywhere. You've got to feel like you're live, you're in a position of readiness and athletic springiness, but you don't want tension, and you don't want to have any locking mechanism or process going on. We don't want to feel like there's a locking principle in action anywhere in the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, no tension in the neck. We want to feel this very heavy. If you can't actually feel that club feeling very heavy at every point in the golf swing, you're not swinging it, because you're not letting momentum have its way. Now, as soon as you let momentum have its way, the club will feel heavy. Whenever you lever it, you're taking the swing away. You're taking away the natural inertia of the club trying to get away from you, to try and go that way. It's trying to go that way and that way. It's trying to get away from you. And that's what creates the heavy feeling. The only reason it doesn't get away from you is the arc here, and we're holding on to it. So it starts to get away, then we capture it, and we load it. And that's what you've got to do. You have to capture the escaping momentum and load it so that you can produce speed and velocity and energy into the golf shot. And essentially it's that, guys. We throw it. If you look back at all the guys from the 30s and the 40s, well, not all of them, but so many of them swung the club like this. It's called negative loading, Count Yogi-ish. Okay, the guys from the 30s and that type of thing, where they had the softer shafts, they started out with hickory shafts. I think the steel shaft came in about 1936 or something like that. But all the guys that started their golf with hickory shafts, basically swung the head of the golf club, because the club had a fair bit of bend in it, and so they felt the head naturally. So they wanted to load it, so they basically took it back negative to get positive. So they were throwing it this way. When the club runs out of momentum, it cocks up, and then they just turned against that momentum. They didn't let it cock up here, grab it, and then try and put it in position. They just took it back here. When the club ran out of escape radius, it just set itself against the soft wrists, and they just turned against those soft wrists. That's as simple as it is. That's how a golf swing works. You let the momentum try and escape. As it goes out here, it can't escape because we've got this radius here and the club is held in the hands. So it comes out here to the point where it loses its escape intention, and then it's corralled. But it's corralled softly. It's corralled and loaded. But we still keep that feeling of the club head here. And how many times do we see Bobby Jones doing this? For the guys that have seen Bobby Jones used to do this. But Bobby Jones used to let go with his two back fingers of his left hand, piccoloing. But he did it beautifully. He let go and then he grabbed it. I wouldn't advocate that, but I mean, you could do that if you wanted to. So guys, we've got to feel like this is a tennis ball on a piece of string. And we have to at all times make it feel like it's a bowling ball, not a tennis ball. It weighs that much. It feels like a bowling ball. And as we come through, we're going to feel the weight of that bowling ball there, pulling on the shaft and pulling on our hands. Our hands are not pulling on that. That is pulling on this. This is what you have to understand, guys. We don't want the hands to pull on the bowling ball. We want the bowling ball to keep pulling on the hands. And the only way it'll do that is if it maintains its It's mass momentum there that you don't take away from it, its ability to create a load on your hands. You don't want the hands to create the load on that. That will happen as a matter of course, but you don't want to have that as a conscious thought. You want to have the feeling that the club has gone here, it's still pulling with that momentum as you change direction. Then you'll feel the bowling ball. If you don't feel the bowling ball on the end of the shaft, then you're levering it. Now, a lot of people talk about leverage in the golf swing, but it's not deliberate leverage. It's leverage that occurs by way of the momentum of the golf club and it wanting to keep escaping at every facet of the golf swing. It's wanting to sort of go, we're moving this way and we have to get it to go this way. But you have to get it to feel as a field that it never ever wants to go this way. It's still exerting pressure going this way. It's like this. That it would keep going this way because the pressure is going this way. As we throw it back, that's an exaggerated feeling, but guys like Bobby Jones, you watch them. I mean, he threw it back here and then he just turned against it. Now you've got to have a soft grip, guys. And you've got to feel a little bit, you know, loosey-goosey and jellified. You just got to do that. So how do we do it? To practice. Okay, just let everything soften up. Everything in your whole body, your being. Soft neck, soft eyes. Don't be intense when you look at the ball. Just be soft. Everything. Feel heavy. And we're just going to feel that momentum in the golf club. And we're just going to get the bowling ball moving. Yeah, there's the first bowling ball of the day. Oh, that's a good shot. And that's with a really stiff golf swing, no warm-up, nothing. But all the mechanics become automatic, guys. Because this momentum creates the automaticness of the golf swing. It just does that. It creates the automatic process if you let it. As soon as you interrupt that process, nothing is automatic. So very, very soft. The bowling ball, soft hands. It makes you wonder why you wouldn't do that every time you play golf, JH. Well, I have an element of, gee, that's a good shot. I have an element of that in my golf swing, no question about that. Believe it or not, I get the feeling more intensely with a longer golf club. Even though something like a wedge or a C9 is heavier, I just find that the longer club, because the mass, the bowling ball is further away, creates more inertia. So if you want to get the feeling, and guys, don't worry about if you miss hit it, because you'll miss time it. Because it'll feel loosey-goosey and you're not used to the loosey-goosey, and you'll grab it. You'll think, oh, I've got no control here, and I'll grab it, and you'll pull it out of its orbit. Out of its loosey-goosey orbit. You'll pull it out of its escape mode. You always want to feel like it's escaping. As soon as you try and stop it escaping, you'll lose the swinging process. So just get yourself a hybrid or a rescue or something. Very, very soft. And we're just going to loosey-goosey. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, there is no question that you'll never move a golf club faster than you can swing it. Bobby Jones, they say, had a estimated club head speed of about 112 to 114, 15 miles an hour, which is pretty quick. And his swing was basically the speed of gravity, which I think is 33 feet a second as a vertical drop. Now that meant that he just dropped the club out of the sky. He never tried to increase any speed, and yet he ended up with 114 miles an hour club head speed and could hit the ball 270, 280 yards with those old golf clubs and those old balls. And it was basically just momentum, guys. It was gravity. That. So we don't have to help the golf club. The club will find a way of getting there if you let it. And what we want to develop, guys, in my terminology, well, it's not mine, it's somebody else's, but I've been using it for a long time, and that is we want to develop a swinging hit, not a hitting swing. A swinging hit. We swing and we hit. We swing when we create a hit. We don't hit, but we just create one. Okay, let's have a swinging hit. It's a tree out here at about 230 yards. Hybrid. Just going to have a swinging hit. There you go. 225. It's a 19 degree rescue, which is, for me, that's about it. Okay, so we're just going to really swing this really soft. I don't know what that looks like, guys. See, that's about 235. That's way over the top of the marker where the tree is. Now that feels like the club's just coming out of my hands. Just feels like this. Now that's the way to learn it. Get yourself a golf club. And just take it back. And let it go out of your hands. And you'll know if you're swinging it correctly if the club goes straight. If it goes straight, you'll know you're swinging it when you let it go. If you're levering it, you'll throw it and you'll probably throw it over here. Because you'll go and you'll hang on to it and you'll grab it and the club will go over here or it'll go out there. When you swing it and you let it go, it goes perfectly straight. Okay guys, I'm going to do more on this during the week because I think, you know, I get so many, and over the years I've just had so many people that struggle with their golf swing. Most of the club players struggle, and that's because they don't swing the golf club. You don't see the pros losing their golf swing completely. They may not be able to play as well from week to week, but their golf swing is basically always there. They don't have these days where they're hitting it straight right, straight left, along the ground, fat, thin. They don't have that because they swing the golf club. Okay, well, just one last shot. So we can really soften this one. I don't know why I would see, that's crazy. That's a 5-iron gone, 4-iron plus distance. I just don't know why you would ever want to do anything other than that. And it's extraordinary. Whenever I've done clinics over the years and I've done this type of thing, I always hit the ball beautifully. And for the next week I hit it beautifully. So we all forget. But guys, we shouldn't. We need to be able to do this. We need to swing the club head. We need to let the club try and escape. All we're going to do is interrupt the escape velocity of the golf club by turning against it. We're not going to try and pull it back, we're just going to turn against it and it'll come with us. Okay guys, I'll do more on that during the week, but that in essence is what we want. We want to develop a swinging hit instead of a hitting swing. It's just so important. You have to feel the head. You have to swing the golf club if you're going to be consistent.